Welcome to OnFinality's customer interview series, where we learn more from leaders in the blockchain space and how OnFinality's infrastructure helps them build the decentralized future faster. My name is Rob. I'm head of growth at OnFinality, and today it's our distinct pleasure to have Luke from Crust Network to join us for a chat. Hey, Luke, on how they're using OnFinality's expertise in powering their mission-critical blockchain infrastructure. Hey, buddy, great to have you here. Can you tell us, the viewers, more about Crust Network, what it does, and how you're going to dominate?
Okay, so I always I'm not calling we are dominating the whole decentralized storage. So basically, Crust, you know, yeah. So Crust Network is that where we're basically aiming on the decentralized storage area. So we're targeting on building the free storage marketplace, which Uber or the Airbnb allows the user who have the storage needs and matches those needs to the storage providers in our network. So that's the basic, idea of Crust Network, and we are also being one of the recommendation decentralized storage protocol by the Ethereum Foundation, and also being recommended by several, layer one ecosystem, including the Polygon, Sharding, and also Solana. So so basically, of course, also we are based on the Polkadot ecosystem. So we are being the dominated in the Polkadot, the decentralized storage ecosystem, right? So we're just calling us. Yeah, we're just calling us as the biggest player in the whole Polkadot ecosystem, especially on the on the decentralized storage area. So that's basically what we did. So Crust, actually, we launched our mainnet last year, September, and we are right now achieve almost 2,000 storage providers in the whole network around the world. Yeah. By the way, we are the open protocol, and we allow anybody who you can just join with your personal computer. So that's the first part, and we also gain over 800,000 terabytes in the whole network volume. Yeah, and we so for right now we have over 150 projects who have already stored the data on us, including the big names like Uniswap, like Aave, and also NFT Go, NFT Scan, several different cases. But we can just talk later. Yeah, and that's basically what we did. Hope those answer won't be so long. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot, right? And so from the average person's point of view, there's a lot of things you guys do, but effectively you're like a storage marketplace, or someone could think of them like that. And from a monetary angle, as I understand it, people can effectively rent out their storage to people within your network and get paid, right?
Yes, exactly.
And yeah, there's so many. I guess in the traditional world, there's so many centralized storage providers. How are they reacting to this? Or where do you think this is kind of going to go? If I'm a Google or these guys right now, are they going to come into this space, or what's going to happen there, you think?
Yeah, it's we are always targeting us as one of the player in the decentralized storage. So so comparing with the centralized solutions you just mentioned, Rob, like AWS S3 or Google Cloud, or Azure bucket services. So those centralized one do not, or they never have the benefits of the decentralization. You can just own your own data. You can store anything, anti-censorship and everything's who you can get in the whole decentralized world. So that's the first one. And also, with the blockchain, because Crust is also the layer one protocol. So with the blockchain, the incentive is which is our token. So our storage price could be super low, which is almost one 10 times cheaper than the AWS S3. For example, if you want to store 1 gigabyte data on the Crust network, you only like cost $0.0001 per gigabyte data per year, but which you may need to cost a couple dollars with maybe iCloud, with AWS S3, whatever centralized storage providers who can't, lower their storage prices as much as possible because they need to earn the money and they need to pay the operation fees in different, data center and cloud machines. So that's the 2 biggest benefits we like comparing with the centralized storage solutions. Yeah.
Interesting. In a past life, I was actually in the media sector, like TV and film, and I was wondering, like how does this, like, we're sort of thinking about decentralized storage for like my content, but what are the implications for like decentralized storage for like illegal content, or if I'm doing something kind of just like, is there something, like, how do you address that, or is that just by the very nature of us sort of being in this, decentralized kind of vision and so on, that you kind of like take your lumps with that, or what happens there?
Yeah, there is like a tons of like illegal website, hosted on our platform. To be honest, Rob, we just received like tons of email from, some like US government or like UK, some government to warn us. But, this whole thing, we only build the protocol like directly, and we do not own the protocol. The protocol is operated by the storage providers who can like freely join and exist, and the users just as the same way, so we cannot filter the content directly in our side. But you can like build tons of like you can actually build applications on the top of us. Like I mentioned, there is already like 150 project already built top of us, and those applications who should take the responsibilities of the legal side stuff, they can just filter the content with their UI. But those like illegal content or illegal content still like exist in the network. But if the users cannot browse it, it just sinking into the deep of our like network. So that's how I feel about how to handle this legal or illegal content, because in the technical side, for the protocol layer, because Crust is also built top of an IPFS, so we are like 100% compatible with IPFS. In this IPFS technical side, we cannot delete anything. Like we are like I don't say like anti GDPR, but we cannot match the rules of the GDPR or the data ownership or something. But the users can own their data. But for the illegal content, of course, especially for the public ones, the application should choose to filter out those illegal content. Yeah.
Sure. Makes sense. Kind of switching gears, but related, I guess, massive week in crypto at the moment around the issues of security, terrible stuff going on. I was wondering what, I noticed that you're supplying or partnered with, the leading people in DeFi, Aave, Uniswap. Can you share more about what you're doing there and why that's so important given the things that are happening right now?
Oh my God, that's really an interesting topic, Rob, because some really terrible news just happened a week ago, I think. Yeah, FTX or some really terrible news in the whole I know. Yeah. I would just I will mention that that part. But for our customer Uni and Aave, they actually chose to hosting their website or they decentralized all of their stuffs, including the smart contract, the trending, behavior, the whole thing, including the user's behavior, all happens on chain, and they choose to host their front end website also in the decentralized way. on the IPFS and on the Crust. So that really makes the whole DeFi, especially like the Uni and Aave, still be dominate the whole like DeFi like ecosystem, because they just chose decentralized everything. So how they decentralized hosting their website is like it's like actually super easy. Like for you only need to do like 3 steps. One is like to IPFS rise your content or your website. It's like upload your website into the IPFS directly. You can actually upload your website in your local IPFS node, right? And the second step is like use us as like sender transaction and notified our storage providers to store the Uni or Aave's website for them. So in that case, actually, there in each version of the Uni or Aave's website, they got 100 replicas, 100 storage nodes around the world store their website for them. It's not for them, for the whole community, right? And they don't need to like worry about their website, like front end website being hacked or being like DNS hijack on their website, because each user of the Uni or Aave, they can just download some IPFS client or some Crust network wallet to load that content using exactly the same IPFS CID, which is the content identification issued by the Uni and Aave team. So in that way, their website is like 100% secure, and they are actually like the end-to-end secure from the smart contract side to the front end side. So for their users, they just feel like I just own everything. I don't need to interact with some like centralized like sex like centralized exchange, or especially like the UI. I don't know where the centralized exchange server hosted, and I can figure out by my own. It's super clear. That's all the benefits of like decentralized hosting. Yeah.
Awesome. And that's pretty cool, right? So if I'm like a member of the Crust community, by virtue of doing that, I'm also supporting helping support like the whole DeFi ecosystem with Aave and Uniswap. That's pretty neat just in itself.
Yeah, exactly. They're just feeling like super proud about it. Yeah.
Nice. And so with like, obviously there's all this stuff going on at the moment with FTX and guys like that, but also just greater like macro environment right now. Like there's obviously a lot of things happening with risk assets or all assets. And what are you seeing in terms of like just builders within the ecosystem? Like OnFinality, we get to see, because we're supplying services across the teams. We see some guys slowing down, other people like they're exactly the same. Also, new people coming in. So really interesting times. And I think in general, the people we talk to, like in the industry, are still super bullish, right? Maybe a little bit shaken by the last week.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just sitting like, what do you see when you're also at this kind of interesting like infrastructure level? You would have a lot of insights into like what's happening.
Yeah, for especially for like going through the last crazy week you just mentioned, Ro, it's like every single Web3 developer or like like player or even token trader, especially for the token traders, they're just lack of confidence about the future right now. But for me, especially like and I mean, in some kind of cases, OnFinality is like super similar to the Crust. We're all building the infrastructure of the whole Web3, and we always chose OnFinality as our node operator, or being one of our like the most important like endpoint of our blockchain. It's because like OnFinality, you always like providing a super stable services for our developers, especially like the Uni and Aave also like use the endpoint of the OnFinality. You provide it to connect their our blockchain services and access the blockchain resources, which is super important to make them sending the transactions. And I think as an infrastructure, I always care about the usabilities and the decentralizations, especially as one of the player in the Web3 world. Like we're providing the services for over 150 like projects right now, and most of those projects building some who actually create some values in the whole Web3 world. Like I mentioned, it like despite for the big names, we also got the the SocialFi, which is a decentralized YouTube. They're just allow the creators to upload their videos into our platform, and we really care about the SocialFi cases, which which also we though in those SocialFi use cases, they allow really high valuable or high scalable services from the Crust. So we chose OnFinality and we chose Substrate. We chose the entire Polkadot ecosystem is because we see the high TPS and high stabilities of the different providers or protocol layers infrastructure, so we can support different use cases. Because Rob, decentralized storage is the very fundamental layer of the whole Web3. It's every single application needs the storage, right? So they need to choose where they store their data. So that's what we can do in the whole bear market time or very hard time. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Really cool stuff. And you touched then OnFinality started in the Polkadot ecosystem. It's providing a lot of support for all of the teams in Polkadot. But recently, we also started venturing out into other L1s like Avalanche, Cosmos, and so on. And I noticed on your site that you also have support for Solana, Near, the L2s of ETH like Polygon, Flow even, I think. What are you seeing now in those ecosystems? Because everyone's sort of at different stages of growth and so on. And you see all these studies, right, that come out from all these different research people every week about which ecosystem is growing and how many developers a lot of them, it's there's certain it's angled in a certain way, shall we say, based on who's doing it. I'm interested again, are you seeing any particular ecosystems at the moment that are stronger or that you guys are excited about?
Okay, so we started from the whole Polkadot ecosystem, and right now we still believe in the whole Polkadot ecosystem, right? And after we actually launched our mainnet, on the one hand, we still try our best to follow the newest latest tech update on the XCMP, which is a cross-chain storage protocol, on the whole parachain relay chain stuff on the Polkadot side. And we did a lot of work with Moonbeam, with R-Star, with Akala, and we try to build our cross-chain storage palette on the Polkadot ecosystem, which allows other parachains to store data through our cross-chain storage palette via the XCMP. So that's really the biggest work after we launched our mainnet, and we keep updating on our site right now. But on the other hand, Rob, you just mentioned we actually developed some different ecosystem cross-chain storage solution. That's just also true. That's actually started from the Ethereum, because we got tons of requests or needs from our users or developers. They just ask us, hey, if you can just provide some smart contract based on the EVM compatible ecosystem, that would be super easier for us to develop or use Crust storage features. So based on that, we cooperate with Polygon directly. So and with Chainlink, we provided the off-chain storage the off-chain storage Oracle, which for on the Chainlink's Oracle protocol, and we also develop the storage, like cross-chain storage smart contract on Polygon directly, and also we deploy it in the same way into the Ethereum. So that's actually how our started in the other ecosystem. But right now, if you ask me which ecosystem we are is the best, or like from my personal point of view, like will be like the strongest ecosystem, it's really hard to say, but we still will focus on two different ways: Polkadot and other ecosystem blockchains. And we also like integrate with the Aptos, being one of the storage like functions on Aptos recently. So we keep following the the new layer one, super powerful layer ones, but it's hard to say like which one will be the strongest. But we started from the Polkadot, so we definitely will put like most of our energies and times into the Polkadot ecosystem. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, if you know the strongest ecosystem in 5 years, just let me know.
Okay, got it.
Our little secret, yeah.
Yeah.
And you guys have, really impressive, right? That you're not like, one of the criticisms for a lot of people who aren't familiar with crypto is like, what are all these different projects? Like you guys, you're not vaporware. You've got like a real working solution, solving real world problems. People can understand like how this works or the potential implications because of they might use it in their personal life, or they can see that a lot easier than many other things that people are developing out there. So it's really cool. And as you run a Polkadot parachain auction, so a lot going on, which is pretty cool. But things aren't always that easy, right? So people see like your success and this great stuff you've done, but can you share like any of the challenges that that got you to this point and how you overcame them?
Okay, so like for me, like for the whole decentralized storage, okay, let's go back to the Web2. Like for the Web2 storage, it divided into like two big categories. The first one is like the file storage. It's like you can put like iCloud. You can put your pictures, videos into your iCloud. That's actually like an object storage. But for the second one which is really important and which is really big to support the whole like social relationship or other like ERP system, which is the relationship storage, which is the database, But for the IPFS side, it only supports the first category, the object storage. So it's really hard for the IPFS protocol to extend their protocol into the relationship data storage, But we really want to support that way. So we focus really tight on different, relationship data storage protocols, including some projects built top on IPFS. But the thing is that they are super slow, because for like if you visit the Google Cloud and query your account information, you cannot stand like wait 5 seconds more to load your audio informations on your page, right? But for the current relationship, like the decentralized relationship data storage, the average just costs you 30 seconds. So which is unacceptable to building the applications built top of on those like relationship data storage. But this part is super important for, if some guy or some like team can solve this problem, I see the values. I really see the values, like especially like on the SocialFi. Everybody just, my personally really trust the SocialFi could be the next wave of the whole Web3. But if you cannot solve those like relationship data storage, the users cannot own their data,
And this is, I saw you in another presentation where you talked a bit about this, and I guess maybe to explain that a little bit from the way I understand it is you're saying that effectively, and this is, I guess, one of the big tenets of Web3 and why it's exciting is that, people can actually own their data more than, these centralized providers. And so that might be that you could own that audience or that community you've built, and you could effectively just take it and leave one provider and then plug it into another one, right? So I could leave Facebook with all my data, with all my things, and then just plug it into another one, plug and play, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's actually not we are talking about this in this place, Rob. It's like Chris Dixon talking about this in the very first beginning when the X60Z founded, So it's actually a word. It's called network accumulation. It's like the whole Web3 is dismiss the whole network accumulation. Like you said, Rob, if you want to export all the data from Twitter and plug into the Facebook, you can't do it in the current Web2 world. But in the Web3, you are very easy to do it, right? So that's the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's super exciting, but of course early days. But yeah, awesome that you're looking to solve these problems. And kind of, I guess, one of the reasons we're talking is that OnFinality's got a long history of supporting teams within the Polkadot ecosystem, especially with API and node services. Can you tell us more about how you found OnFinality and how our services benefit Crust or people building within Crust?
Okay, so for the first question is how I found it. To be honest, I think I was introduced by my friend Marvin from Fala team. Okay. But how he found it, I was I don't know. Yeah, but Marvin just told me, hey, there is a super exciting services which can stabilize your node endpoint, which can provide it different locations. Endpoint, he just described a very brief information. Then I talked with James, and then we just start using the OnFinality services, and we found it's good. And you guys always, I won't say the customer service, but you always give us the super detailed data to show what data we use for the last month. And we can see the Google Analytics, but in a different way, more Web3 way. And we can learn more about our users and user behavior, and then we can get it from there. So this service is actually beyond the node services. It's we can also enjoy and analyze some data from the node services. Especially you guys capture some behaviors of the node endpoint usage. So which is awesome. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, it's great feedback, and I guess we owe Marvin a beer for.
Yeah, that's true.
I'll remember that one.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're looking to, or we are going to be building even more and more, insights on top of those services. So I think it's obviously really important that we can supply, that greater value to all of our partners, and there's so much more that can happen there, and it just becomes a better and better product and service for everyone. So yeah, great. I guess kind of coming back to some of the things we've talked about, you've got so many potential applications for what you're doing. I can't imagine being your business development guys, because it must be a nightmare. Where do you start, right? Because you have all these really cool things you can do. You've got all these different ecosystems. What's the biggest opportunity for you? Is it if you dominate more of those say DeFi guys, or is it going down that media and content space, or the personalized storage thing? I know you're doing stuff in NFTs as well. It's so many massive things you can go after. Where do you start?
Okay, so I think we started from GitHub. It's our business development guy, which is not the current one, which we don't have that one yet. When we started the whole recommendation to other projects about our product, our network, so we start talking with Uni and Aave's developers on GitHub. So we open the issue in their repo, and we kindly, make a proposal in their GitHub, which we, which I wrote a 1,000 words proposal to clarify or describe how big benefits you could get when you hosting your website. into Crust. So they actually accepted that proposal, and we just started from there. Then we just take the Uni and Aave case to talk to other DeFi project to persuade them to use Crust. That's for the DeFi, But for the NFT, we actually directly talk with Remark, the RMRK. And also we talk with them because we are like the same ecosystem. We are all in the Polkadot ecosystem, so it's super easy to open a conversation, So and they actually knew us very long ago, like you, Rob. Like they have already invested in us yet. So that's actually a big benefit when we are in the same ecosystem. Everybody in the same ecosystem will notice us, will aware us. So it's super easy for the Remark case, and then we just use Remark case to resell the Remark case to other like NFT projects. Yeah, we always just we just said Remark is the biggest NFT marketplace in the Kusama and Polkadot ecosystem, which is true, right? And we just use this. But I was starting from charge of the technical side, but right now I was like half business development guy. Right now I was like a selling man or something. Yeah, but that's how we started. Yeah, that's, to be honest, all the process when we just started building our cases.
Awesome. And kind of going back to how it started, I did a little bit of digging on you, Luke, and I noticed that you've got in your past you worked for Microsoft. So
yeah,
how did you, or do you have any advice for people who like are in Web 2 now, looking to get into Web 3, or people who are just starting out, like how they should get into crypto? Like, do you have any advice?
Yeah, I was working the Azure's blockchain team when I was in the Microsoft. So to my job, requirement, I actually access or know the blockchain in a very like early age, like 2017, I think. Yeah, but that's actually the last round of the of the bear marketing time, 2017 time. And when I just when I read the white paper of the IPFS and Filecoin, I was super excited when they just bring the concept of like the unstoppable internet. I think it's really cool. But for the job in the Azure's blockchain team, I almost doing some like a private chain or like serve some like the 2B customers, and which I think the public blockchain like Ethereum and also Filecoin, and in that way is also like tons of like different like blockchain in that time. So I learned from the public chains. I see the value of the public chain, which I really love the public chain in like comparing with the alias chain or like the private chain. So I just decide to turn my job into the public chain. Like, but for the advices, I think the current Web3 world is totally different when I was in the 2017. So there is like tons of centralized services which is allowed to exist, like the OpenSea, like some like centralized exchanges, which also like providing the job opportunities for the which you don't need to like change your job, content or like your daily job, like you also like writing the same way. But the whole like the Web3 world, you still need to, I cannot give like too much advices, but you still need to figure out your own. And if you think you like it, I think you can try to start it from some like centralized company like OpenSea. Yeah.
Great. Yeah, good tips. I think, well, thanks for joining us today, Luke. It's been a pleasure learning about decentralized storage and how you support it. Really exciting stuff. If you want to learn more about Crust, you can go to their website. And if you're a Web3 builder and you want to get stuck into Crust, you're at the right place. OnFinality, blockchain infrastructure made smarter. You check out our website at app.onfinality.io. Sign up for a private key and access 500,000 daily responses absolutely free. Once you're there, you can check out the monitoring tools that Luke mentioned and loves, and you can understand your users a whole lot more. So it's so easy, guys. Your mum can do it. Check out the website. Follow us on Twitter. Thanks again, Luke. Been a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Rob. Thank you so much
No
for having me.
Okay, thank you.